There exists a Japanese philosophy that samurai utilized before entering combat. And the absence of this philosophy implemented to your existence might be precisely what's preventing you from acting on what you most desire to achieve. Presently, we inhabit in the information age, the era where you possess access to everything: courses, mentorship, strategies, data, analytics. With all the knowledge available today, anyone could initiate a business, study and learn about any subject. Anyone could generate substantial money, for example. But we understand that this is not the reality we inhabit in. Even with so much knowledge available, many individuals still confront many difficulties in existence that theoretically could be easily resolved, which makes me contemplate the following question. The challenge today isn't a lack of information, it's a lack of action. We possess access to so much information that we become paralyzed. We don't understand which path to follow, who to listen to, and this makes us hesitate. You're contemplating initiating a business, but you spend months researching. Contemplating transforming careers, but spending years planning it. You might be contemplating bringing a personal project to existence, but you analyze so many details that you end up losing interest in the idea. And then you inquire yourself, why can't I just accomplish what I want? The answer is simple. You overthink things. And no, overthinking doesn't mean you're lazy, unmotivated, or not ambitious enough. Overthinking can possess deeper roots. Some quotes on the internet articulate that modern humans make an average of 35,000 decisions per day. However, more reliable studies suggest that we make an average of 400 to 1,000 decisions per day. Here we are discussing conscious decisions, or those that involve some mental effort, even if it is small. And every decision requires mental energy, analysis, comparison, prediction of results. Now multiply that by your fears, by your insecurities, by your expectations. The result? Paralysis by analysis. You get so busy contemplating how to accomplish it that you never actually accomplish it. The Japanese have known the symptoms of overthinking for centuries, so much so that they developed a concept, a category of mental state that frees you from overthinking. They possess a name for that state: Ku no Sekai, the world of emptiness. But don't be fooled by the name. It's not about emptying the consciousness in a mystical or abstract manner. It's about something much more practical and revolutionary. To act without the interference of excessive contemplating. Miyamoto Musashi, the great Japanese samurai. If you've been following this channel for a while, you already understand exactly who he is. He wrote the following in his last book, The Book of Five Rings. In the void there is good but not evil. Wisdom exists, principle exists, the way exists, and the mind is empty. He wasn't discussing Zen meditation, he was discussing survival. Because in a sword duel, if you discontinue to contemplate, you expire. There's no, let me analyze his movement. There's no, I'm going to calculate the ideal angle. You simply act, often on instinct, or you expire attempting to contemplate. And here is the brutal truth. Your existence isn't so different from a sword duel. Not in the literal sense, of course, but every occasion an opportunity presents itself. You possess two paths. Act or contemplate until the opportunity disappears. And most individuals choose the second one, not because they want to, but because they were trained to accomplish so. School taught you to analyze. The market taught you to compare. Society taught you to fear making mistakes. And now you're trapped in an endless cycle of overthinking, contemplating, analyzing, planning, but never acting, until all that's remaining is regret. What if I had tried? This is the saddest phrase in the human language. But there is a way out. And it doesn't involve contemplating more. It involves contemplating less. It involves understanding the concept of Ku no Sekai. A world where you act without preconception, where you flow without resistance, where you inhabit without the prison of excessive contemplating. Does it seem impossible? Maybe, but it functions. And I'm going to demonstrate you exactly how in this video. But before we continue, I encourage you to comment below. What is that thing you want to accomplish but get stuck just contemplating about it? Initiating a business, a career transformation, a personal project? Answer below. Now let me explain a story that might transform the way you view overthinking. Chapter 1. The Woman Who Never Started. The story I'm about to explain can be implemented to any situation, whether it's business, studies, or relationships. You observe. Do you recognize that individual who everyone understands is going to be successful in existence? The one who possesses natural talent, who resolves challenges that no one else can, who when she articulates, everyone listens. but for some reason, she never moves. This was the case with Emily Carter. Emily was 28 years old. She possessed a degree in business administration. She functioned as an analyst at a medium-sized company. But everyone who functioned with her understood Emily wasn't designed to be an analyst. She was made to lead. Whenever there was a challenge on the team, it was Emily who resolved it. Every occasion a project stalled, it was Emily who unblocked it. Whenever a customer was dissatisfied, it was Emily who turned the situation around. She possessed something that you can't teach in college, business vision, and everyone observed it, except her. Because Emily suffered from the challenge we're discussing in this video. She overthought things and not about other individuals' challenge, yes, about her own. Every occasion an opportunity arose, Emily went into analysis mode. A colleague once suggested she initiate a consulting firm. She spent 3 months researching business model, pricing, positioning, competition, profit margin, tax risk. When she finally decided she was prepared, the opportunity had passed, the market had transformed, and the fear had grown. Once again, a friend invited her to become a partner in a startup. She spent 2 months considering it, and while she was analyzing the situation, her friend found another partner, and the startup took off without her. Emily wasn't indecisive. She was a prisoner of her own consciousness. Was she afraid? Yes, but it wasn't fear that discontinued her. It was an attempt to eliminate fear through thought. And the more she contemplated about it, the more reasons she found not to act. What if it goes incorrect? What if I'm not beneficial enough? What if I lose everything? These questions possess no answer because they are questions about the future, and the future doesn't exist yet. But Emily believed that if she contemplated enough, she could control the future. Spoiler alert, you can't. Nobody can. And that was exactly what Ko came to teach her. Chapter 2. The Meeting with Ko. Ko was 56 years old, Japanese, born in Kyoto, moved to the United States at age 30. She possessed a small interior design company, nothing enormous, but it was a solid and profitable business. It was also very respected. Ko met Emily at a business fair. Emily was there representing the company where she functioned. Ko was exhibiting her work. But what caught Ko's attention wasn't Emily's portfolio. It was the manner she articulated. Emily was presenting a project to a client, and Ko, who was passing by, discontinued to listen. The manner Emily articulated ideas, how she transformed complex challenges into simple solutions, how she to the client's requirements before they even articulated. Ko observed something that Emily didn't observe, wasted potential. After the presentation, Ko approached. "You're very beneficial at what you accomplish," Ko articulated with a soft but firm accent. Emily smiled, embarrassed. "Thank you. I accomplish what I can." "No, you accomplish more than you can. But you accomplish it for others, not for yourself." Emily was speechless. Ko continued. "I possess a proposition. I'm expanding my company. I require someone who understands strategy, individuals, and business. Someone like you. Would you be willing to participate in a business meeting with me and learn more about my company? Who knows? We might become partners." Emily experienced her heart race. It was exactly what she had always wanted. A genuine opportunity with someone experienced in a market she admired. But instead of articulating yes, she articulated, "Can I contemplate about it?" Ko smiled, not with happiness, but with recognition. "Sure, let me know when you decide." And Emily departed there, with her head exploding. Chapter 3. The Prison of the Mind. Emily spent the subsequent 3 weeks contemplating. She wasn't sleeping well. She was making spreadsheets, analyzing scenarios, reading about societies, researching interior design. What if I don't understand enough about design? What if Ko is difficult to function with? What if the company doesn't grow? What if I lose my stability? Each question generated 10 more, and each answer generated 100 doubts. She wanted all the guarantees before articulating yes, but existence offers no guarantees. After 3 weeks, Ko called. "Emily, have you decided?" Emily stammered. I'm still analyzing some things. I require to make sure that—" Ko interrupted gently but directly. "Let's possess coffee tomorrow. I require to explain you something." Emily accepted with a knot in her stomach, but that conversation transformed everything. They met at a small, quiet coffee shop. Ko ordered green tea. Emily, coffee, very strong. "Emily," Ko began, looking into her eyes. "Why haven't you accepted yet?" Emily took a deep breath. I'm afraid I'm not prepared, that I don't understand enough, that I'll fail. Ko acknowledged. And when do you contemplate you'll be prepared? Emily remained silent. Never, articulated Ko. Because you're not waiting to be prepared, you're waiting to be sure, and certainty doesn't exist. Emily experienced a lump in her throat. Ko continued. In Japan, there's a concept my grandfather taught me when I was young. He practiced kendo, the art of the sword, and he always articulated, Ku no Sekai, the world of emptiness. Emily frowned. A world of emptiness? Yes, but it's not devoid of purpose. It's devoid of interference, devoid of excessive contemplating, devoid of paralyzing fear. Ko paused, took a sip of her tea. When you fight with a sword, if you discontinue to contemplate about your subsequent move, you expire. There's no time for analysis. There's no room for doubt. You simply act. Your physical body understands what to accomplish. Your consciousness just requires getting out of the manner. Emily listened, mesmerized. Do you understand why I invited you to be my partner? Ko inquired. No. Because I observed in you what you don't observe. Competence, talent, vision. But I also observed something else. You're stuck, not for lack of ability, but for overthinking. Emily experienced tears welling up in her eyes, because it was true. I used to be like you, Ko articulated softly. When I came to the United States, I was afraid. Afraid of failing, afraid of not belonging, afraid of losing everything. And I almost didn't initiate my company because of that. I almost got stuck contemplating about it. What transformed? Emily inquired. I remembered Ku no I. I remembered that contemplating doesn't eliminate fear, acting does. You'll never be certain, but you can possess courage, and courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action despite it. Ko held Emily's hand. You don't require knowing everything. You just require initiating. The path is made by walking, not by contemplating about walking. Emily rubbed her eyes, and for the first occasion in weeks she experienced something different. Emily experienced a sense of clarity. I accept, she articulated. I want to be your partner. Ko smiled. Excellent. We initiate on Monday. Chapter 4. The Awakening of the Flow. Emily didn't sleep that evening, but it wasn't anxiety. It was excitement. She initiated researching about Ku no Sekai, and the more she read, the more she understood. It wasn't about not contemplating. It was about not letting thought paralyze you. It was about acting with total presence, but without attachment to the outcome. It was about trusting the process, not the control. She found texts about Miyamoto Musashi, about the Book of Five Rings, about the concept of mushin, the mind without a mind, and everything initiated to make sense. Every occasion she had struggled in existence, it wasn't for lack of information, it was for over-analysis. She didn't require more data. She required less mental interference. On Monday, Emily initiated functioning with Ko, and in the very first few days, she noticed something. Ko didn't plan excessively. When a customer placed an order, Ko didn't spend weeks sketching. She sketched, showed, adjusted, and delivered. It doesn't possess to be perfect on the first attempt, Ko articulated. It just requires being plausible. We can adjust the rest along the manner. Emily, who always hoped everything would be perfect before showing it, was shocked. But it functioned. Customers appreciated the agility, the transparency, the collaborative evolution. And Emily began to internalize that. She discontinued waiting for the perfect plan, and she initiated acting with the plan that was possible. She discontinued being afraid of making mistakes, and she initiated observing mistakes as feedback. She discontinued contemplating about all the variables, and she initiated to flow with the ones that mattered. And something magical happened. The company grew, not because Emily became more intelligent, but because she became freer. Free from the prison of overthinking, free from the requirement to control everything, free to simply accomplish. And within 6 months, the partnership between Emily and Ko was flourishing. They weren't just business partners, they were friends. And Emily was experiencing something she never imagined. Purpose with lightness. Chapter 5. The Invitation. A year later, Ko called Emily to discuss. I'm going to visit my family in Japan in Kyoto, and I want you to come with me. Emily's eyes widened. Seriously? Yes, I want to introduce you to the community there. Individuals who inhabit the Ku no Sekai every day. Artisans, masters, simple yet profound individuals. Emily experienced a chill. You gave me a new existence, Ko articulated. Now I want to give you a new perspective. They traveled 2 weeks later, and what Emily experienced in Japan transformed her. She met a master potter who didn't measure, he didn't plan, he simply molded, and each piece was unique. If I contemplate too much, the clay senses it, and it doesn't flow, he articulated. She met a sushi chef who didn't follow strict recipes. She experienced the fish, she experienced the rice, and she created. Food is not science, it's art, and art isn't contemplated about, it's experienced. She met a kendo practitioner who at 70 years old still trained every day. I don't fight the opponent, I flow with him. When he attacks, I've already moved. Not because I contemplated about it, but because my physical body knew. And finally, Emily fully understood Ku no Sekai. It wasn't about being reckless. It wasn't about not being prepared. It wasn't about ignorance. It was about acting from the essence, not from fear. It was about trust in what you already understand instead of endlessly searching for what you don't understand. It was about inhabiting in the moment without the illusion that you can control the future. When Emily returned to the United States, she was no longer the same. She hadn't eliminated fear, but she had learned not to let it control her. She didn't possess all the answers, but she had learned that she didn't require them. She didn't control the future, but she had learned to build it one step at a time. Chapter 6. The Science Behind the Void. But let me demonstrate you that this isn't just abstract Eastern philosophy. Modern science proves every piece of the concept of Ku no I. Some researchers conducted a study where they analyzed the brains of individuals during periods of peak performance. Athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, surgeons, and they discovered something fascinating. During peak performance, the prefrontal cortex was less active. This is the part of the brain responsible for conscious thought, planning, and analysis. In other words, when you perform at your optimal, you contemplate less. Another study measured the reaction time of elite athletes, and they discovered that when they attempted to consciously control their movements, their performance dropped. Why? Because the brain's automatic motor system is infinitely faster than conscious thought. You process approximately 11 million bits of information per second, but only 40 reach your consciousness. The rest is processed automatically. And when you attempt to bring everything to consciousness, you overload the system. It's like attempting to drive while contemplating about every movement. Now I'm going to turn the steering wheel 15 degrees. Now I'm going to press the pedal with 20% force. You crash the automobile, because driving isn't something you contemplate about. It's something you experience. Some individuals will call this phenomenon neural efficiency or the state of flow, and existence is the same. Ku no I. It's not mysticism. It's applied neuroscience. It's about understanding that your physical body, your intuition, your accumulated experience understand much more than your consciousness can process, and when you discontinue interfering, you perform at your peak. The samurai knew this 400 years ago. Today we call it the flow state, but it's the same concept and the same truth. Chapter 7. How to live the Ku no Sekai. Now you must be contemplating. Okay, I understand, but how do I implement this in practice? Here's the secret. You don't attempt to implement it. You remove what's getting in the manner. First, discontinue searching for certainty. Seek clarity. Certainty is about the future. Clarity is about the present. You can never be certain if a business venture will succeed, but you can possess clarity about why you want to accomplish it, and clarity is enough to initiate. Second, train until you don't require contemplating anymore. If you want to be beneficial at something, practice until the movement becomes instinct. Emily didn't get beneficial at business by reading about business. She got beneficial at accomplishing business repeatedly until the physical body learns. Third, act little, but act fast. You don't require possessing the perfect plan. You require possessing the subsequent step clear, and take that step today, not tomorrow. Not when it's prepared. Today. Fourth point. Accept the error as part of the process. Water never misses. It simply flows around the obstacle. Did you make a mistake? Flow into the subsequent move. Did it fail? Move on to your subsequent attempt. Ku no Sekai. It's not about perfection, it's about continuous movement. And fifth, trust the process, not the result. You don't control whether it will function, but you do control whether you attempt. And when you inhabit in the process, the result comes as a natural consequence, not as a goal, as a byproduct of being present. Chapter 8. The Final Paradox. Here is the deepest truth of all. You will never reach Ku no Sekai because you are already in it. Contemplate about it. When you were a child, you didn't contemplate about playing, you just played. When you were completely immersed in something you appreciated, you didn't contemplate about accomplishing it, you just accomplished it. When you experienced your optimal flow moment, you weren't attempting to get into the flow, you simply were in the flow. Ku no I. It's not something you learn, it's something you remember. It's about unlearning overthinking. It's about relearning to inhabit without the illusion of total control. It's about returning to the natural state before all the fear, all the expectations, all the voices explaining you that you require being sure before acting. Emily understood that. Today, she and Co. possess a growing business. But more importantly, she possesses peace. Peace with not knowing. Peace with the process. Peace with error. And this peace doesn't make her any less productive. It makes her freer. And freedom, that's genuine success. Because titles you can lose, money you can lose, status you can lose, but freedom, once you find it, freedom never abandons you. Miyamoto Musashi at the conclusion of the Book of Five Rings wrote, "When you understand the way, you will observe the way in all things." He wasn't discussing swords, he was discussing existence. Ku no Sekai. It's not a technique, it's a manner of being. It's about waking up without the anxiety of what requires being accomplished and simply accomplishing it. It's about making decisions without the paralyzing weight of doubt and simply choosing. It's about inhabiting without the illusion that you require possessing everything figured out before you begin and simply beginning. And perhaps existence always wanted you to inhabit like this, flowing, present, free. But you were too busy contemplating about it to recognize that you were already in it. So here's the final invitation. Discontinue overthinking. Initiate flowing and discover that Ku no Sekai isn't somewhere far away. It's here now. At this very moment, you just require discontinuing looking and begin to be. If this video touched you in any manner, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. There's much more content like this coming soon. Leave a like and comment. What's that one thing you want to accomplish but get stuck just contemplating about it? Thank you tremendously for your engagement, and remember, be present, walk with honor, follow the path. Observe you in the subsequent video.